Hello, and what is going on, everybody? I am Master of the TDS, and I'm joined by my lovely wife,
WritingRaven.
And we're back for another episode of Psycho-Synopsis, the segment where we summarize all the Psycho for you. 3 topics from the past week, all summarized in one video for you to enjoy and consume at your leisure.
You're welcome. Now let's get into it.
Oh, really?
If you're a creative working in AAA, which I did for many, many years, put this stuff up to your higher-ups. And if they don't see the value in what you're asking for when you ask for consultants, when you ask for research, go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want.
Terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want.
Ooh!
Sweet Baby Inc. employees attempt to downplay the company's influence over the video game industry through a misinformation campaign were exposed, revealing their significant involvement in major game projects.
What a surprise!
Now, let's give a quick summary for those who are just coming here. Sweet Baby Inc. is a company that is hired, it's a consulting company that's hired for games, where basically they help make it more diverse and inclusive. There's an esteemed curator named Sweet Baby Inc. Detected, and all it was doing was basically pointing out if a game had Sweet Baby involved, and the Sweet Baby Inc. employees went crazy over this. They tried to report him, they tried to get rid of him, whatever, and long story short, it ended up bringing a lot of eyes to them more than ever had before, and basically it's blew up into this huge controversy that, while, yes, it is a controversy needed to happen, it's definitely been blown out of proportion, but Sweet Baby only have themselves to blame.
Very true, and they have been going crazy trying to do damage control for themselves, with Kotaku writing articles in their defense and themselves going on these little tantrums all over the place, and it's just been hilarious to watch their downfall.
Yeah, it's been fun. I've actually been dunking on a couple of them. I've gotten a couple of them to block me. Again, mostly the journalists covering this because they've been disingenuous and have not put certain information into their articles where they should have. So, for example, the reason this kicked off so strongly was because one of the Sweet Baby Inc. employees didn't just go after the Sweet Baby Inc. Detected group. They decided to go after the maker of the group, Cabrutus, and his Steam account to try to get it removed because, quote, he loves it so much.
Odd. It's almost like they have something to hide.
Yes, but all the articles that have come out have glossed over this fact. They have not mentioned this at all, so it comes up to be very disingenuous.
Of course, it's mainstream media. You can't expect anything they write to be genuine. But the meltdowns that they're having and everything that's been coming out has just been so damning that I don't think they're ever going to work again.
I don't think they're going to recover from this. I still think they will work again because these companies are like cockroaches. They really somehow survive.
True.
Now, the biggest claim being made is that Sweet Baby doesn't force diversity and whatever.
Yes, they do.
But the funniest thing is Sweet Baby Inc. CEO Kim Belair previously revealed that basically, there are tactics they use to kind of manipulate studios into collaborating with them, but not only that, to scare them or terrify them into compliance when they will refuse to listen.
Yeah, well, I was about to say, by tactics, she means threats.
Yeah.
Literal threats to the marketing team and anyone in charge of the actual business of the gaming company. I really hope this wasn't the case with Darksiders 3.
I don't think so, because a lot of games sometimes games have diversity and inclusion in them, and they do it like organically, and that really works.
True. With Darksiders 3, the character of Lust, because they were doing the 7 deadly sins, Lust was literally a non-binary character referred to as they, them, which I thought was weird, but it actually worked for the character! And I've never seen that again!
Diversity and inclusion can work when it's not made the big focus, but trying to inject it into games ruins them, and I'm glad people are talking about this. There are more companies than just Sweet Baby, and day by day we get more news on this, so we'll continue to cover this as it continues to go forward, but it's definitely interesting.
Oh, yes, it is.
Between those who want to pull America back to the past, and those who
We
want to move
interrupt this for breaking news. We now return to the State of the Union.
Akira Toriyama, 1955 to 2024.
Rest in peace, you absolute legend.
Akira Toriyama, the creator of the iconic Dragon Ball manga series, passed away at the age of 68 due to an acute subdural hematoma, leaving behind a legacy of influential works and a global phenomenon.
Like I said, legend.
You might be wondering, so our introduction to this segment was kind of strange, but what we were trying to highlight was the fact that basically the State of the Union was going on, but nobody really cared. There's multiple reasons why you might not care, but nobody really cared because of the whole Dragon Ball thing coming out. And again, he passed away at age 68 due to an acute subdural hematoma, so he had so much more life to live, and it's really sad to see him go this way.
And so much more to write. Same with that Berserk author. They always seem to go too young.
Yeah. Now, Dragon Ball, I'll be frank. I'm not a huge fan of Dragon Ball.
Nor I. I don't understand the plot. Everything about it just, to me, seems like it's a bunch of people who are too overpowered and yelling at each other. But I can understand why it's popular with other people.
It's one of the best-selling manga series ever, and it was popularized manga globally. So keep in mind that even if you are not a fan of Dragon Ball or whatever, you cannot deny the impact of it has had on the pop culture space and manga in general. Without this, there's a very good chance that a lot of mangas you would love and enjoy would have never gotten their time in the spotlight.
That is true. He really set the stage and the structure for shonen manga everywhere. You can see his influence everywhere. There are parades with him. Goku got a balloon in the Macy's Day Parade, in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Literally, you ask anyone in the world, what do you know? Have you heard of Dragon Ball? And they will say yes.
Doesn't mean everybody watches it, but that's a side point. Now, he's also credited in the Dr. Slump series, character designs for video games like Chrono Trigger and Dragon Quest, among other things. So it's not just Dragon Ball, but Dragon Ball is one of the main things that he's known for, and it makes a lot of sense that he's known for it because he did a good job with it, enough that it kind of, if for lack of a better term, it broke the glass ceiling on manga and allowed other manga as a proxy to kind of be distributed globally.
Yeah. Like I said, an absolute legend. I don't know if anyone will be able to take up his mantle.
I don't think so. I don't think fans would be open to that. And I think that, again, even if you're not a fan of Dragon Ball, this is just so sad. He was young. He could have had a lot more time. And I do want to point out one thing. And again, I'm not bashing him at all. Okay, I want to make this very clear because, again, subdural hematoma, not necessarily the case, but I do want to point out something that I think is important. We see a lot of manga creators, specifically these days, basically they work themselves to death.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying this was the case here, obviously, but what I am saying is I would love to see manga come out less frequently if it meant that these manga artists, these absolute legends, took some time to make sure their health was a priority. Not saying he didn't do that, but it is something I want to point out because I hate seeing this happen to manga authors and people who are important to us and are to our childhood.
Yeah. Japan teaches about work ethic quite hard. They literally drill it into you. So it's not surprising that they work so diligently, but it's that's sometimes their downfall.
Gone too soon, unfortunately. He will always be a legend amongst many legends that came before and will come hopefully after.
There is no need to say, may his memory be a blessing, because his memory already is a blessing.
No, 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 no.
choice.
Netflix has confirmed that the live-action Avatar: The Last Airbender show will return for seasons 2 and 3, aiming to conclude the story of the four nations: water, earth, fire, and air.
Why?
We have to give this show credit, whether you liked it or not. And again, if you are someone who liked it, that is totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
But it got 41.1 million views in the first 11 days, which is quite an achievement.
I mean, it's Avatar: The Last Airbender, so of course people were going to show up. But then a lot of people also turned the TV off when they saw how bad it was.
I've seen people say that it's okay, for the most part. I've seen people say it's amazing, but in our opinion,
it is subpar and laughable.
They take a lot of creative liberties and they make Katara a lot more like center stage and kind of helping Aang out. And I don't have an issue with that necessarily, but I don't think it's needed sometimes.
Especially in the fight between Aang and King Boomy, and when Katara and Sokka are supposed to be trapped in growing Geminite, they're not supposed to be able to help him at all. And Aang isn't even supposed to know that Boomy is Boomy at that point. Why? Why did he keep calling him Boomy?
I don't know. Look, they obviously made changes, and I hate these things when they do with adaptations where they're like, we need to make it different so people will come watch. No, just make it exactly the same way. You might have to change one or two things here and there, but why can't we just have the same things translated into live action? Why do we need to take them and be like, well, we need to change them? You don't.
No, of course they don't, but they're gonna do it anyway because they think they can do whatever they want.
Now, here's what I'm interested in.
Mm-hmm.
So, in this second season, I'm curious what they're going to do about Toph.
So am I, because how are they gonna do the blind girl?
I think they'll do it just fine, but like I'm worried because a lot of these characters lose some of their character traits and personalities because they're deemed problematic. So for example, Sokka, they took away his sexism so that he never learned that women could be warriors and whatever, and basically had Suki throwing herself at him from the moment she met him, which doesn't really make sense.
No, it does not. He earns Suki's respect by seeing her as an equal, eventually.
They also changed the origin of Omashu to make it, very subtly, they make it change to lesbian lovers, which they didn't have to do.
Not to mention the story of Omashu was supposed to be in season 2.
Again, if you're enjoying it, that's fine, but this just seems like, I think, and I'm going to say this, and maybe it seems controversial, but I am going to say this.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people just wanted a good, more Avatar content.
Yeah. We also finally, in comics, got told how Sokka died. He died protecting Korra. Isn't that great?
Not surprising, but I think a lot of people are starved for Avatar content, and because of that, they'll kind of take whatever they can get. I think that while, yes, there's some changes that need to be made for live-action adaptations, I think that there were a lot made that weren't necessary, and were trying to pander, and like the whole scene with Avatar Kyoshi, it was just so weird.
And also not supposed to happen.
Also, where are her fans?
Yes, where are her golden fans that are her signature weapons?
Fans are problematic. No, unless they're completely obsessed and won't criticize it at all.
Ha ha, I see what you did there.
Looks like it's time for another therapy session.
And now it is time for the diagnosis of the week.
Where we diagnose the week with a mental illness.
Because someone has to.
And we have an interesting diagnosis for you this week.
Do tell.
So the diagnosis for this week is selective memory.
Please explain.
So selective memory is a cognitive bias where individuals tend to remember information that supports their beliefs or values while ignoring or forgetting information that contradicts them. This bias can lead to a distorted perception of reality and can affect decision-making and behavior. It is a descriptive term that likely emerged in the context of psychology and cognitive science to describe the phenomenon of memory bias.
In relation to today's topics, with Sweet Baby Inc., selective memory could be seen in how employees attempted to downplay the company's influence while conveniently ignoring or forgetting their significant involvement in major game projects.
With Dragon Ball, selective memory could be seen in how fans and critics may remember or emphasize certain aspects of the show while overlooking or forgetting others, shaping their overall perception of the series and its creator.
And with the Netflix Avatar series, selective memory could be influencing the perception of the live-action Avatar: The Last Airbender series, with some potentially overlooking criticisms or negative aspects of the show because they are just happy to have more Avatar.
No shade thrown at the Dragon Ball creator. I was simply suggesting with that fans are going to remember what they want to remember, and unfortunately there are already people attacking him for being racist or whatever, and so it just goes to show you that some people are only going to remember certain things. Hopefully you remember the good. But we see a lot of times where these people, these showrunners, are very selective of what they want to remember, especially when it comes to the lore. They feel the lore impedes them. And because of that, we get this product that doesn't even resemble the original. So if you didn't want to make the original product as it is, you pretend like certain things didn't happen, and that simply just doesn't work. Make something original on your own, or, stop pretending and only remembering what you want to, just because you want it. We're going to see this a lot more in Hollywood, and I kind of wish we weren't, because I think that selective memory needs to go. We need to have a collective memory. And that's why I feel this is a great diagnosis for this week.
I agree.
That is all we have for this week. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and also make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe with notifications on so you do not miss your weekly therapy session.
Or you will be charged.
Gothic Therapy